Today I'm talking about connection, such an important part of our wellness, who we are, and being a human being, and yet so often overlooked. And it's ironic, this topic, because we are more connected from a virtual world perspective in terms of our evolution of technology than ever before. And yet at the same time, we are also more disconnected than we ever have been. How did that happen? How did we end up like this? Connection is fundamental to us understanding our place in the world, where we're from, who we belong with and alongside, and how we find our place. Connection to ourselves, who we are, how we move through the world, what we value, and how we live a life of meaning and purpose. Connection to others. I think we're seeing, particularly in this current climate, a disconnect, particularly with people who might be different to ourselves. And there is this division rather than unity, which of course we see play out across the world in the form of wars and conflict. So how do we have compassion to connect with other people and see everybody as a human being, and to acknowledge the differences that they bring, and to see the positive in those differences, to see the opportunity that may lie therein? And beyond this, of course, we've got connection to self, which is so important, connection to others. And then we've got connection to things like the present moment. So many of us live either regretting the past or worrying about the future, that we're very rarely connected to our present moment. And that is key for our state of being in terms of how we remain calm and composed and centered and grounded. But it's also key to how we navigate the moment, the awareness, right? When we are connected to the present, we are aware and we know what's going on. It makes us healthier, it makes us happier. It also helps us focus, so it aids our productivity. So there's this connection to the present moment, and of course, connection to something bigger. So connection to something that brings us meaning and purpose. Connection to the why. Why do I get out of bed in the morning? What is my legacy? What is my gift to the world? And sometimes this plays out in our work, but rather than just work and getting paid for it, it's our service, or dharma, as Buddhists would call it. So it's our impact to the world and what we do that makes a difference. And there's a great sense of not just well-being and happiness that comes from this, but understanding that we matter, that we mean something, that we make a difference. And what I believe we're seeing in the world, particularly in this current climate, is our disconnection. Yes, we might be very connected online, but the statistics tell us we're lonelier now than we ever have been. So in terms of real connection, this online world doesn't stack up in terms of what it really means to connect. And we are now more disconnected than ever. And of course, with that disconnection comes feelings of loneliness, ill health. It affects our mental health as well. And of course, it's also something that has us seeking to fill the void. If we've got a void that's caused by disconnection, then we look to fill it. And 9 times out of 10, the things we're looking to fill it with are the unhealthy things. So think of addictions, whether that's alcohol, drugs, shopping, gambling, work, relationships. Any form of addiction we have is unhealthy, and often that's what we're trying to fill this disconnect, this void with. Each time we pick up our phone, ironically, to feel connected, we're often looking to fill a disconnect that is our loneliness, that emptiness inside. Ironic, right? And so being connected is so important because it fills that void for us. There is no void when we're connected. Connected to ourselves, who we are, what matters to us, and what makes us tick. Connected to a purpose, something that gives us meaning, the impact we make in the world. Connected to the present moment, being aware and being centered, grounded, composed. And there's one more connection piece, I think, that is we shouldn't overlook. That's also an art that we're losing. A connection to nature and the natural world. Now, we have come from a place as humans where we were always connected to nature. We were one, we were part of nature. And yet now we are so disconnected to nature, we have caused a global climate crisis. And yet there is a reason doctors prescribe green therapy now to some of their patients, because there is science behind the connection we get from nature. Being out in the bush, being quiet, being on the beach, having your toes in the sand, or gardening and having your fingers in the soil. There is a connection we get to the natural world that literally refuels us, recharges us. And yet for so many of us, particularly if we live in cities and spend a lot of time inside, we're losing that connection. So this is all fundamental to our health, our wellness, our happiness, our performance, our focus, our productivity, and connection is the thread that ties all this together.